Nathaniel Harris was once a successful businessman, wealthy and powerful. Beneath the surface of his shining success, however, Nathaniel carried secrets and mistakes that led to the collapse of his family life. The story begins when Nathaniel, at the age of 45, decides to leave his wife Isabella, leaving behind only a cold letter, unaware that this decision would irreversibly change the lives of all three individuals. Nathaniel Harris was not an ordinary man. From a young age, he exhibited exceptional intelligence and decisiveness. Born into a middle-class family in Chicago, Nathaniel always aspired to rise above his circumstances. He attended a prestigious business school where he quickly stood out for his leadership skills and strategic thinking. After graduating, Nathaniel didn't stay long at any company, rapidly climbing into significant roles. With financial support from his family and relentless determination, Nathaniel founded his own company at the age of 30, initially focusing on the field of information technology. His company rapidly grew thanks to his innovative ideas and market savvy. The overwhelming success brought Nathaniel the wealth and power he had always dreamed of. However, behind the glamorous facade lay secrets he dared not reveal. Nathaniel was not afraid to use unconventional methods to achieve his goals. He engaged in shady deals, even violating the law to ensure his company remained on top. These decisions not only tainted his reputation, but also created potential threats from competitors and authorities. While Nathaniel's career soared, his personal life began to fracture. He met Isabella Thompson at a corporate charity event 2 years after founding his company. Isabella, a youthful, intelligent, and passionate woman, was immediately drawn to Nathaniel's charms and success. The two quickly married and had a son named Lucas. At first, their married life seemed like a perfect picture. Isabella, with her warm heart and gentle nature, brought balance to Nathaniel, who was often consumed by his work and complex business relationships. However, over time, cracks began to appear in their lives. Nathaniel spent less and less time with his family. He frequently worked late nights, attended meetings, and went on long business trips. Isabella, although understanding and supportive, began to feel increasingly abandoned. Nathaniel's absence left a void in her heart, leading her to seek ways to cope with the pressure and loneliness. The business secrets Nathaniel kept hidden gradually caused serious consequences. Competitors relentlessly sought to undermine his company, and authorities began to suspect irregularities in his business operations. Consumed by anxiety and pressure, Nathaniel immersed himself even further into poor decisions, continuously sharpening strategies to protect his reputation and wealth. Meanwhile, Nathaniel and Isabella's family life continued to deteriorate. Lucas, their son, began to notice changes in his father's behavior. The young boy, with his innocent heart and pure soul, could not understand why his father was always busy and rarely present. Isabella, with boundless love, tried her best to keep the family connected, but feelings of helplessness and loneliness haunted her. One dark night, after a tense business meeting, Nathaniel returned home. Instead of finding comfort, he felt suffocated by the silence of the four walls. The weight of his work and the imbalance in his personal life pressed heavily on his mind. Isabella was sitting on the couch, her eyes red and puffy, unable to hide her exhaustion and disappointment. "Nathaniel, we need to talk," Isabella said, her voice choked but determined. Nathaniel closed his eyes, trying to suppress the rising frustration. "Not now, Isabella. I'm tired." "Not now? It's always not now. Do you ever have time for me and Lucas anymore?" Isabella stood up, her voice trembling, filled with the pain that had accumulated over the years.
Nathaniel didn't respond. He turned away, his eyes burdened with pressure and fatigue. He walked off, leaving Isabella standing there, her heart breaking. Isabella could no longer hold back. She quickly stepped forward, grabbing Nathaniel's arm, her voice breaking as she spoke. "Nathaniel, do you think you can just walk away and ignore everything? Don't you see that Lucas and I need you? We're a family. Why can't you try for us?"
Nathaniel turned back, looking at Isabella with eyes full of tension and helplessness. "I've tried, Isabella, but I don't have the strength anymore. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. Every day, I feel like I'm dying inside. I don't even know who I am anymore." Isabella shook her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I don't understand. Do you think you're the only one suffering? I'm trying every single day to hold this family together. I want Lucas to have a happy family, and I want you to be a good father to our son. But all I get in return is coldness and endless lonely nights." Nathaniel remained silent for a long moment before speaking, his voice soft but laden with weariness. "Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I never deserved you and Lucas. I don't know how to be the person you want me to be anymore, Isabella. I think maybe we need to stop before things get worse." Isabella froze, feeling as if she'd been struck in the heart. She stared at Nathaniel, her voice quivering with anger and pain. "You want to stop? After everything we've been through, you just want to give up? Do you really think walking away is the solution to everything?" Nathaniel looked into Isabella's pain-filled eyes, but said nothing. He lowered his head, knowing he had no explanation convincing enough, and unable to face the pain he had inflicted on the woman before him. Turning away, he walked out, feeling as if his entire world was collapsing around him. That night, Nathaniel sat in his study, writing a short letter. "I need time. I'm sorry, I can't continue this life." He placed the letter on the desk and walked away without looking back. He had nothing more to say, nothing more to explain, only an emptiness that consumed him. The words in the letter were all he could leave behind, because he lacked the courage to confront the brokenness he had caused. The next morning, Isabella found the letter. Her eyes froze as her trembling hands picked it up to read. Tears streamed down her face as she read the words written in Nathaniel's firm yet slightly shaky handwriting. "Isabella, I'm sorry for failing to be the husband and father you and Lucas deserve. I've tried my best, but I find myself without the strength to face the pressures and expectations I've created for myself. I've always wanted to give you a happy life, but I've only made everything worse. You've probably noticed how distant I've become, and I know it has hurt you deeply. I can't bear to see you suffer because of me anymore. I've made many mistakes, and now I feel unworthy of standing beside you and Lucas. I need time to find myself, to understand who I truly am, and how to fix the wrongs I've done. I know leaving now is selfish, but I can't continue living in pretense and suppressing my emotions. I hope that you and Lucas will find the happiness I couldn't provide. I will always love you both, no matter where I am. Please forgive me." Nathaniel. Isabella read each word, her hands trembling as tears fell uncontrollably onto the paper. It felt as though her heart was being crushed. All her efforts, all her love, and all her sacrifices now reduced to a cold letter. She screamed in despair. "Nathaniel, why are you leaving like this? We are a family. Why couldn't you fight for us?" Hearing his mother's cries, Lucas quietly stepped out of his room. The young boy looked at his mother, his innocent eyes filled with confusion. "Mom, what's wrong? Where's Dad?" Isabella sat down, pulling Lucas into a tight embrace, her tears still flowing. "Your dad needs some time, sweetheart, but I'm here. I'll never leave you." Lucas looked up at his mother, his bright eyes shimmering with uncertainty. "But I want Dad. He promised to take me out this weekend. Why did he leave, Mom?" Isabella held Lucas closer, stroking his hair as she tried to find words to soothe his heart while her own shattered into pieces. "I don't know, my love. I don't know. But no matter what, we'll get through this together." Isabella didn't know how to respond. She could only hold her son tightly. She didn't want Lucas to understand the pain the adults were going through. After Nathaniel left, Isabella faced a new set of challenges. Balancing her teaching job and taking on the roles of both mother and father was no easy feat. The first few days were especially difficult as she worked tirelessly to ensure Lucas didn't feel the absence of his father. She took Lucas to school, participated in his extracurricular activities, and tried to keep a smile on her face every day. But when night fell, the emotions she had buried throughout the day began to surface. One evening, after putting Lucas to bed, Isabella sat on the sofa, staring at a family photo of the three of them. In the photo, Nathaniel was smiling, his arms wrapped around her and Lucas. The image shattered her heart. Tears streamed down her face as she felt an overwhelming sense of loss and loneliness, like a hand tightening around her chest. Isabella had once believed that her love could overcome any challenge. She had poured her heart and soul into their family. But now, with Nathaniel gone, she felt as if all her efforts had been in vain. She missed the nights they spent lying beside each other, sharing dreams about the future, and the sense of security that came from having Nathaniel by her side. She missed the look Nathaniel gave her, the whispered commands he breathed, the silently left that commanded so much more. Memories of Nathaniel often hit her unexpectedly. When Lucas laughed, she thought of Nathaniel and the happy moments they had shared as a family. Some mornings, she stood in front of the mirror, trying to paint a cheerful expression on her face, but her eyes betrayed the exhaustion she couldn't hide. She reminded herself to stay strong for Lucas, but deep inside, she felt as though she was crumbling a little more every day. Whenever Lucas asked about his father, it broke her heart all over again. He would ask innocent questions like, "Mom, will Dad come back? Does he still love me?" These questions tore Isabella apart, but she always tried to stay strong. "Dad will come back, sweetheart. He just needs some time," she would say, even though she wasn't sure if it was true. These words were a temporary balm for both mother and son, but they couldn't heal the deep wounds left behind. Sometimes the exhaustion made Isabella want to give up. The unpaid bills, the late nights spent preparing lesson plans, and the loneliness of having no one to share her worries with all weighed heavily on her. She felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, one strong gust of wind away from falling. But every time she looked at Lucas, she told herself she had to be strong. She couldn't let her son lose both his parents. Lucas also changed after Nathaniel's departure. The once cheerful boy became quieter and more withdrawn. He no longer played or laughed as much, and often kept to himself. Whenever his friends talked about trips with their parents, Lucas would sit in silence. He didn't understand why his father had left, and it made him feel lost. One day, with tears in his eyes, Lucas asked his mother, "Mom, what did I do wrong to make Dad leave?" Those innocent words felt like a dagger to Isabella's heart. She hugged Lucas tightly, hiding her own tears as she replied, "No, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong. Dad loves you very much. He's just dealing with some things he needs time to figure out." Though she spoke those words to comfort her son, Isabella knew that they were as much for herself as they were for him. In the evenings, after Lucas had fallen asleep, Isabella would often sit alone in the living room, staring into the empty space before her. She would recall the happy moments her family once shared, the sound of Nathaniel's laughter, his warm embraces. She wondered if there had been anything she could have done to hold her family together, to change something that might have kept Nathaniel from leaving. She felt powerless, as though everything was slipping through her fingers. Isabella knew she had to keep moving forward, for Lucas and for herself. But deep inside, the pain and loss remained ever present, like a wound that refused to heal. She tried to smile, to live each day, but in the depths of her heart, Isabella carried a heavy longing for Nathaniel, the man she had once loved, trusted, and sacrificed everything for. Years passed, and Nathaniel made the decision to return and reclaim his family. One day, on a busy street in Chicago, he saw Isabella, walking hand in hand with Lucas. They walked peacefully, yet there was an air of incompleteness about them. Nathaniel decided to approach them. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Isabella?" Isabella turned around, stunned to see the man she had once loved so deeply, now standing before her with a face full of regret. The shock froze her in place, but painful memories quickly surged back. "Nathaniel? What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice a mixture of surprise and barely restrained anger. Lucas looked at Nathaniel, faintly recognizing his father's face from distant memories. "Dad, why are you back?" he asked, his voice unable to hide the hurt. Nathaniel knelt down, looking at Lucas with tear-filled eyes. "Lucas, I'm sorry. I made mistakes, and I know I may not deserve it, but I want to make things right. I want a chance to be your father again." Isabella looked at Nathaniel, her eyes reflecting a deep pain that only someone who had endured true heartbreak could understand. "Nathaniel, you can't just come back and think everything will be fine. You abandoned us. I had to hold everything together to raise Lucas and keep this family from falling apart. Do you understand that?" Her voice grew sharper, unable to hide the bitterness that had built over the years. Lucas gazed at his father, his eyes filled with doubt and pain. "You left us. Do you know how many nights Mom cried? Do you know how I had to take care of her?" Lucas couldn't hold back the emotions that had been bottled up for so long. He had always dreamed of his father coming back, but not like this, not with hollow promises. Nathaniel met his son's eyes, his voice hoarse, as if each word was a struggle to speak. "I know, Lucas. I know I hurt both of you deeply, but I've changed. I don't expect forgiveness right away, but I want a chance to make amends." Isabella stepped forward, standing protectively between Nathaniel and her son. Her voice grew firm. "Nathaniel, you left us at our most difficult time. Lucas had to grow up without a father. Do you think you can just return and apologize, and everything will be okay? Lucas has learned to be strong on his own. Our son has endured pains you can't even begin to imagine." Nathaniel lowered his head, his shoulders shaking. He felt the weight of the pain he had caused, and the distance time had created, a distance that could not easily be bridged. "I don't expect you and Lucas to forgive me now, Isabella. I know I've lost your trust, but please, give me a chance. I won't give up. I'll stay here, and I'll prove myself through my actions. I won't let things end this way." Nathaniel took a deep breath, her eyes still filled with pain and doubt. She looked at Nathaniel for a long moment, then turned to Lucas, who had grown older but still carried the visible scars of his father's absence. "Nathaniel, you'll have to prove it through actions. Lucas doesn't need meaningless promises anymore. He needs your real presence. We won't forgive you easily, but you can try." Lucas was silent for a while, then looked his father in the eyes. "Dad, if you really want to come back, you have to be here for me and Mom, not for anything else. I don't want to see Mom cry because of you again." Lucas's words were like a dagger to Nathaniel's heart. But he knew it was what he needed to hear. Nathaniel nodded, his eyes red and glistening. "I understand, Lucas. I'll be here, and I'll prove it with my actions. I love you and your mom, and I'll do whatever it takes to be your father again." Isabella turned away, not wanting Nathaniel to see the tears streaming down her face. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but at least she had given Nathaniel a chance to start over, for Lucas, and perhaps for herself. Determined, Nathaniel decided to stay in Chicago and rebuild his life. He moved into a small apartment near Lucas's school so he could see his son more often. He got involved in community and charity work, helping the less fortunate as a way to find peace within himself. Every morning, Nathaniel picked Lucas up from school and took him out for ice cream. At first, Lucas remained distant, reluctant to talk much with his father. He often answered Nathaniel's questions with short, indifferent replies, staring out the window. Nathaniel understood that he couldn't force Lucas to open up, but the coldness weighed on him, keeping him awake many nights. One day, Nathaniel decided to take Lucas to the park. He thought perhaps the joy of outdoor activities might bring them closer. They sat on the grass, watching other children playing nearby. Nathaniel spoke softly but earnestly. "Lucas, I know I've hurt you and your mom a lot, but I want to change. I want to be someone you can be proud of." Lucas looked up at his father, his eyes filled with uncertainty. "You say that, but how do I know you won't leave again?" Nathaniel met his son's gaze, trying to convey the sincerity in his heart. "I'll prove it to you. I won't ever leave you again, no matter what happens. I'll always be here, Lucas." Lucas didn't say anything, just gave a small nod. It was the first step Nathaniel felt he had made toward closing the gap between them. Still, their relationship couldn't be repaired with a few heartfelt words. Nathaniel continued to pick Lucas up from school every day, even when Lucas seemed uninterested in spending time with him. One afternoon, during a torrential downpour, Nathaniel stood waiting outside Lucas's school. The heavy rain made the other children rush into their parents' cars. Lucas stepped out and saw Nathaniel standing there, drenched, holding an umbrella, but not using it to shield himself. Nathaniel smiled wearily and held out the umbrella for Lucas. "Here, take this," Nathaniel said, his voice gentle despite the shivering cold. Lucas hesitated for a moment, looking at his father, who was soaked to the bone but still standing there with a smile. Slowly, he took the umbrella and held it over both of them. For the first time in a long time, Lucas allowed himself to smile. A small, but genuine sign of hope. "Get in the car, Lucas. You don't want to catch a cold," Nathaniel said, his voice trembling from the chill, though his eyes remained gentle. Lucas hesitated briefly, but eventually moved forward, taking the umbrella from his father's hand. In the car, the silence between them was heavy, deepening Nathaniel's sadness. But he knew there was nothing more he could do except wait patiently. Another day, Nathaniel decided to try a different approach. He knew Lucas loved soccer and had signed him up for a children's soccer club. Without telling Lucas beforehand, he waited until school ended and then took him to the soccer field. "What did you bring me here?" Lucas asked, his tone filled with suspicion. Nathaniel smiled. "I heard you like soccer. This is a new soccer club. If you want, you can join and practice with the other kids. I'll be here to cheer you on." Lucas looked at the soccer field, then back at Nathaniel, his eyes still cautious. But eventually, he decided to give it a try. Lucas stepped onto the field, joining the other kids his age. From the sidelines, Nathaniel sat watching, his heart swelling with joy as he saw the bright smile on Lucas's face when he scored a goal. After practice, Lucas approached his father, sweaty but looking happy. "Dad, are you really going to stay this time?" he asked, his voice quiet but filled with hope. Nathaniel knelt down to meet Lucas at eye level, taking his son's hands. "I'll always be here, Lucas. No matter what happens, I'll never leave you again. You might not believe me now, but I'll prove it with everything I have." Lucas nodded, and for the first time his eyes showed a glimmer of trust and warmth, something Nathaniel hadn't seen in a long time. Despite Nathaniel's efforts to grow closer to Lucas, not everything went smoothly. One evening, Nathaniel decided to visit Isabella's house to spend time with Lucas. He brought along a puzzle set that Lucas used to love when he was younger. He thought perhaps they could sit down and play together, just like they used to. Isabella opened the door and was surprised to see Nathaniel standing there with the puzzle set in his hands. "Nathaniel, what are you doing here at this hour?" Nathaniel offered a sheepish smile. "I brought this puzzle set. I thought I could play with Lucas for a bit, if that's okay." Isabella looked deeply into Nathaniel's eyes. She saw sincerity, but also a lingering fear. "Nathaniel, do you realize that your return is disrupting our lives? Lucas needs stability, and you've hurt him so much." Nathaniel nodded, his voice lowering. "I understand, Isabella. I know I've done wrong, and I don't expect you or Lucas to forgive me easily. But I just want to try to show him that I still love him and that I'll never abandon him again. I'll do whatever it takes to prove that." Isabella sighed and stepped aside, opening the door wider. "All right, but if Lucas doesn't want to play with you, you need to understand and respect that. He's still very hurt." Nathaniel nodded, stepping into the house. He knew he had a long road ahead to rebuild not only Lucas's trust, but also Isabella's confidence in him. Nathaniel stepped inside, sat on the floor, and began unpacking the puzzle set. Lucas entered the living room and froze upon seeing his father sitting there. His face showed a mix of surprise and hesitation. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Lucas asked. Nathaniel smiled, trying to keep his tone light. "I brought this puzzle set. I remember how much you used to love it. If you want, we can play together." Lucas looked at the puzzle, then at his mother, his eyes filled with uncertainty. Finally, he shook his head. I don't want to play, Dad. I have homework to do." Nathaniel tried to hide his disappointment and nodded. "That's okay, Lucas. I'll wait. Whenever you're ready, I'll be here." Lucas turned and went upstairs without another word. Nathaniel remained where he was, staring at the unopened puzzle set, feeling as though a part of his heart had broken again. Isabella sat down beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You need to be patient, Nathaniel. The wounds you caused won't heal easily. But if you truly have changed, Lucas will feel that," Isabella said gently. Nathaniel took a deep breath, trying to gather his resolve. I know, Isabella. I won't give up. For Lucas, I'm willing to do anything. Isabella smiled faintly, for the first time in a long while, a trace of trust appearing in her eyes. Then keep trying, Nathaniel. Let's see if time can heal these wounds. One evening, as Nathaniel returned home after working at a nonprofit organization, he received a phone call from Vanessa Turner, his former business manager. Her voice carried a mocking tone. Nathaniel, do you think you can atone for your sins and become a good man? Do you think charity work will erase all the wrongs you've done? Nathaniel sat down on the couch, gripping the phone tightly. Vanessa's voice brought back all the haunting memories of his past. He took a deep breath, trying to stay calm, and responded in a low voice. Vanessa, I'm not doing this to erase the past. I'm doing this because I want to change, to be better. You can keep trying to undermine me, but I won't stop. I've caused too much pain, and I want to make amends to the people I love. Vanessa laughed coldly on the other end, a sound that cut through Nathaniel's heart. Fine, Nathaniel, but I won't let you earn forgiveness so easily. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. You can do whatever you want, Vanessa. I can't change what's already happened, but I can make the future better, Nathaniel said, his gaze fixed out the window at the twinkling city lights. He had once stood at the pinnacle of power, but now he only wanted a simple life and his family back. Vanessa didn't stop, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Do you think your so-called transformation can earn Isabella and Lucas's trust again? They've suffered because of you, and you think a few acts of charity can make up for that? You're delusional. Nathaniel was silent for a moment, then responded, his voice soft but firm. I don't know if I can ever earn their trust again, but I won't stop trying. I owe them that, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fix what I've broken. Vanessa remained silent for a few seconds before letting out a mocking laugh. Fine, Nathaniel, don't say I didn't warn you. You'll see that all your efforts are just illusions. She hung up, leaving Nathaniel sitting alone in the living room. His hand dropped, the phone slipping onto the couch beside him. A heavy weight pressed down on him, but he knew he couldn't stop now. Rising to his feet, he looked into the mirror. A man stared back, tired eyes, but still holding on to a flicker of hope and determination. He had to fight the ghosts of his past, and he vowed never to give up. The next morning, Nathaniel decided to meet Isabella. Standing in front of her familiar wooden door, anxiety gripped him as he knocked. A few seconds later, Isabella appeared, her expression cautious and reserved. Nathaniel, why are you here? Isabella asked, her voice a mix of surprise and restrained anger. Nathaniel swallowed hard, trying to steady himself. I need to talk to you, Isabella, about us, about Lucas. I know I've made mistakes, but please give me a chance to show that I've changed. Isabella crossed her arms, her gaze piercing. Do you think a few words can change anything, Nathaniel? You put Lucas and me through so much pain. You left us when we needed you the most, and now you come back expecting everything to be okay. Nathaniel lowered his head, his voice thick with emotion. I know, Isabella. I don't expect it to be easy, but I can't go on without trying to make things right. I want to be there for Lucas, to make up for everything I've done. I can't turn back time, but I can do better in the future. Isabella's eyes filled with tears as she looked at him. Her heart wavered, but the old wounds had not yet healed. It's easy to say that, Nathaniel, but do you really understand what Lucas and I have been through? You've hurt us so many times. I'm not sure I can trust you again. Nathaniel stepped closer, his eyes filled with sincerity. I understand, Isabella. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I'm only asking for a chance to prove that I've changed. Even if you can't forgive me, I'll stay here, trying to make things right for Lucas. I want to be the father he deserves. Isabella remained silent, studying Nathaniel. In his eyes, she saw pain, regret, and determination. Finally, she sighed, her gaze softening. All right, Nathaniel, I'll give you a chance. But understand this. It doesn't mean I've forgiven you. You'll need to prove yourself through actions, not words. Understand? Nathaniel felt a weight lift slightly off his chest. He nodded, his eyes misty. Thank you, Isabella. I won't let you down again. Ktia. That evening, Isabella allowed Nathaniel to see Lucas, The boy was sitting in his room, engrossed in a book, when Nathaniel entered. Lucas looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes, quickly replaced by defensiveness. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Lucas asked, his tone cool and distant. "Don't speak, don't smile, don't look at anyone." Nathaniel took a step closer, careful not to intrude too quickly. "I came to see you, Lucas. I wanted to talk, if that's okay." Lucas set his book down slowly, crossing his arms. "Talk about what? You've been gone for years, and now you want to talk?" Nathaniel nodded, his voice soft but steady. "Yes, Lucas. I know I can't make up for the time I've lost, and I know I've hurt you and your mom, but I want to be here for you now. I want to show you that I won't leave again." Lucas sputted his father, skepticism etched into his face. "You always say things like that, Dad. Why should I believe you this time?" Nathaniel knelt down, his eyes level with Lucas's. "Because I'll prove it, Lucas. Not just with words, but with actions. I'll be here every day, no matter what. You don't have to believe me yet, but I'll keep trying until you do." Lucas stared at him for a long moment, his expression conflicted. Then he picked up his book again and mumbled, "We'll see." Nathaniel stayed there for a while, sitting quietly, letting Lucas set the pace. It was a small step, but it was a start. For Nathaniel, that was enough for now. Nathaniel sat on the chair next to Lucas's bed, trying to muster a reassuring smile. "Lucas, I came here to talk to you. I know you might be, really angry with me, and I don't blame you for that. I just want you to know that I'm trying to fix my mistakes." Lucas raised an eyebrow, his tone laced with skepticism. "You think you can just come back and say you're sorry and that's enough? You left us, Dad. You don't know how many nights Mom cried or how lonely I felt. You think you can just come back and make everything okay?" Nathaniel felt his heart shatter at his son's words. Lowering his head, his voice trembled. "I know, Lucas. I know I hurt you and your mom. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just hope you can give me a chance to make things right, to be the father you deserve. I won't leave again, I promise." Lucas stared at Nathaniel for a long moment, his eyes filled with a mix of pain and reluctant hope. Finally, he spoke, his voice low but resolute. "Dad, I don't know if I can trust you again, but I'll give you a chance. I hope you don't disappoint me." Nathaniel took a deep breath, his eyes glistening with tears. "Thank you, Lucas. I won't let you down. I'll be here every day, and I'll prove it to you." Lucas didn't say anything else, just gave a small nod. But that was all Nathaniel needed. He knew the journey to regain his son's trust wouldn't be easy, but at least he had a starting point. In the days that followed, Vanessa continued to harass Nathaniel. She tried everything to sabotage his efforts, spreading rumors and reaching out to Nathaniel's former business associates to tarnish his reputation. One day, Nathaniel decided to confront Vanessa directly. He arrived at her office unannounced, and Vanessa looked up and smirked when she saw him. "Oh, Nathaniel, here to surrender already?" Nathaniel stepped inside, his voice firm and resolute. "Vanessa, I'm not here to give up. I'm here to tell you that you can do whatever you want, but I won't stop. You can try to ruin my reputation, but you can't break my resolve to become a better person." Vanessa stared at him for a moment, her eyes flashing with anger. "You think you can change and I'll just let you go? I'll never forget what you did to me, to us. You have to pay for everything." Nathaniel took a deep breath and stepped closer to her. "Vanessa, I know I hurt a lot of people, including you. I don't expect your forgiveness, but let the past rest. What you're doing now is only causing more pain for both of us. I want to change, and I hope you can find peace for yourself too." Vanessa's smirk faltered for a moment, her expression softening briefly before hardening again. "Peace? Do you think peace is possible after everything you've done?" Nathaniel nodded, his voice calm but unwavering. "Yes, it is. For me, it starts with owning up to my mistakes and doing better. For you, maybe it's letting go of the past. I'm not here to fight with you, Vanessa. I just want to move forward, and I hope you can too." For a moment, Vanessa seemed caught off guard, but she quickly masked it with indifference. "We'll see, Nathaniel, but don't think for a second that'll make it easy for you. Nathaniel met her gaze, his voice steady. I don't expect it to be easy, but I'll keep going no matter what. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Vanessa behind, her expression unreadable. For Nathaniel, it was a small victory. Not over Vanessa, but over the person he used to be. Vanessa stood silently, her eyes betraying an inner conflict. She turned away, her voice faltering slightly. Peace? Do you really think I can find peace after everything you've done? Nathaniel didn't respond, knowing that his words alone could never erase the deep resentment rooted in Vanessa's heart. But he hoped that one day she too would find a way out of her pain. He left her office, his heart heavy but his resolve unshaken. Becoming a better person was never going to be easy, but he was determined not to give up. He would keep trying, day by day, to rebuild trust. Not just with Isabella and Lucas, but also with himself. Weeks of battling. Vanessa's attempts to undermine him and tirelessly proving his commitment to change. Nathaniel began to see Isabella and Lucas slowly opening up. One Sunday morning, Nathaniel visited their home, carrying a cake he had baked himself. Lucas opened the door, his eyes still wary. Dad, why are you here? Nathaniel smiled, his eyes shining with hope. I brought a cake for you and Mom. I was hoping we could have breakfast together, if you both would allow me. Lucas hesitated, his gaze dropping to the cake in Nathaniel's hands. Memories of his father leaving, the nights his mother cried in the living room, and the loneliness he had felt all came flooding back. I don't know, Lucas mumbled, unable to meet his father's eyes. Isabella appeared behind Lucas, observing Nathaniel. She saw sincerity and remorse in his eyes, something different from the man she had known before. With a soft nod, she said, Come in, Nathaniel. Maybe it's time we give this another try. Nathaniel stepped inside, feeling an overwhelming sense of relief. He knew the journey of redemption was still long, but he had been given a chance. A chance to start anew, a chance to love and protect his family once again. They sat around the dining table together. The breakfast began with an awkward silence, but gradually they started to share stories. Nathaniel spoke to Lucas about the lessons he had learned during their time apart, about love and the importance of family. You know, Lucas, Nathaniel said, his voice gentle and filled with emotion. In the years I spent away from you and your mom, I realized something very important. No success out there could ever bring me true happiness without my family by my side. He looked deeply into his son's eyes, trying to connect. I got so caught up in work and chasing recognition that I forgot the most precious things in life. I want the chance to make up for that mistake. Lucas looked at his father, his eyes still hesitant. He put down his spoon and took a deep breath. Dad, I don't know if I can trust you again. I remember all the times you promised to take me out, but didn't come home. Mom cried so much. I had to be strong for her. Nathaniel's heart broke at Lucas's words, but he met his son's gaze, his own eyes brimming with tears. Lucas, I know I failed you and your mom. I broke my promises, and I made you feel like you had to carry a weight no child should ever bear. I can't erase the past, but I want to make sure that never happens again. I'm here now, and I won't leave. I'll prove it to you, every single day. Lucas looked at his father for a long moment, then nodded slightly. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a step forward. For Nathaniel, that was enough to keep going. Nathaniel felt his heart constrict with pain. He knew that no apology could instantly erase the hurt he had caused. Bowing his head, his voice cracked with emotion. I know, Lucas. I know what I did isn't something that can be forgiven easily. But I'm asking you, please, give me a chance to show that I've changed. I want you and your mom to trust me again. I promise. Isabella sat nearby, listening to the conversation between father and son. She looked at Nathaniel, her expression softening slightly. She could see the genuine effort in his words and actions. Gently, she took Lucas's hand and gave it a reassuring pat. Sweetheart, I think we can give your dad a chance. Not for him, but for us. So that one day, when we look back, we won't regret not trying." Lucas looked at his mother, then back at his father. He stayed silent for a long moment, before finally nodding. "Okay, I'll give you a chance. But you have to promise not to make Mom and me sad again." Nathaniel nodded vigorously, his eyes glistening with tears. "I promise, Lucas. I'll do everything I can to never let you or your mom down again. I'll always be here, no matter what." The breakfast continued, interspersed with light-hearted stories. Nathaniel shared tales of his volunteer work, of the people he had met who faced hardships far greater than his own, and how he came to realize that his greatest loss had been his family. Slowly, Lucas began to open up. He asked about memories of their time together when he was younger. "Didn't you and Mom take me to the park in the summer?" Lucas asked, his eyes lighting up as he recalled happier times. Isabella smiled warmly, her gaze soft. "Yes, we did, sweetheart. You loved eating ice cream at the park. Your dad always picked vanilla, but you insisted on trying every flavor." Nathaniel chuckled, his eyes sparkling with joy. "I remember those times, Lucas. I remember you running around the park, and I always had to try to catch up with you. You were faster than I expected." Lucas smiled. A real smile, the first one he had given his father in what felt like forever. "Maybe next time we can go to the park again, but you have to promise not to make me wait." Nathaniel reached for his son's hand, his voice resolute. "I promise, Lucas. I'll always be there for you and your mom. We'll create more beautiful memories together." Isabella watched the two, her heart swelling with a newfound sense of hope. She saw that Nathaniel had truly changed, and maybe, just maybe, their family could have a fresh start. The atmosphere in the room grew warmer, filled with laughter and conversation. The three of them shared a peaceful moment they had missed for so long, and for the first time, the possibility of healing and unity felt within reach. After breakfast, Nathaniel suggested taking Lucas to the nearby park. Lucas hesitated for a moment, but eventually nodded. Nathaniel looked at Isabella, whose expression conveyed both caution and hope. She was watching him closely, but she was willing to give him a chance. As they left the house, Nathaniel held Lucas's hand, feeling the warmth of his small palm. Lucas glanced up at his father, his gaze softer than before. "Dad, I can see you're trying. I hope we can be a family again." Nathaniel squeezed Lucas's hand, his voice trembling with emotion. "We will, Lucas. I'll never let you down again." Together, they walked under the morning sun, a symbol of a new beginning for their small family. Nathaniel didn't just make time for Lucas, he also worked on becoming a trusted companion to his son. In the afternoons, he helped Lucas with homework and collaborated on school science projects. One day, when Lucas was struggling with a particularly challenging math problem, Nathaniel patiently sat beside him, explaining each step. "I don't understand why we even have to learn this stuff, Dad," Lucas said, his voice tinged with frustration. Nathaniel smiled and gently ruffled Lucas's hair. "Lucas, I used to think the same thing when I was your age, but then I realized that learning helps us understand the world and gives us the tools to change it. Just like I'm trying to change myself for the better every day, learning helps you grow into the best version of yourself." Lucas looked at his father, his expression softening. "Do you think I can do it?" "Absolutely, son," Nathaniel replied, his voice full of pride. "You have all the intelligence and determination you need. As long as you stay patient and never give up, you can achieve anything." Their bond grew closer. Visits were no longer heavy or strained, but became precious moments of connection and trust. Lucas began to believe in his father's presence and feel the love Nathaniel was working so hard to restore. Isabella also started to notice the positive changes in Nathaniel. One evening, as she sat talking with Michael, she sighed, but her expression carried a sense of relief. "Michael, do you think I should give Nathaniel another chance? I see his effort, and maybe it's not meaningless after all." Michael looked at Isabella, his gaze filled with understanding. "Isabella, I think you should listen to your heart. Nathaniel made mistakes in the past, but it's clear he's trying hard now. I can't decide for you, but I'll always support whatever choice you make." Isabella held Michael's hand, her smile filled with gratitude. Thank you, Michael. You've truly been a pillar of strength for Lucas and me all these years. I just hope things will work out, not just for me, but for Lucas too. Michael nodded, his support unwavering, as Isabella began to embrace the possibility of a brighter future for her family, one step at a time. A year after Nathaniel's release, he had completed a course on business ethics and began implementing new initiatives with the nonprofit organization he had joined. Together with Isabella, Michael, and Lucas, they had overcome numerous challenges and built a new life full of happiness and purpose. One spring afternoon, while the family participated in a charity event, Nathaniel stood beside Michael and Isabella, watching Lucas joyfully playing with other children. His heart swelled with gratitude and hope. "Thank you, Michael," Nathaniel said sincerely. "Thank you for taking care of Isabella and Lucas when I couldn't. You saved my family." Michael smiled gently and replied, "Nathaniel, we all do what we need to for the people we love. Lucas is an amazing kid, and Isabella is an incredible woman. We both just want them to be happy." Isabella stepped forward, taking both men's hands in hers. "We're all here for Lucas and for each other. Maybe we don't have a perfect family, but we have love and forgiveness. That's what truly matters." From afar, Lucas ran over, his face beaming. "What are you all talking about?" Nathaniel knelt to embrace his son and smiled. "We're talking about you, about a brave and strong boy who makes all of us so proud." Lucas laughed heartily, his eyes shining brightly. "I'm proud of everyone too. We're a family, right?" Isabella, Michael, and Nathaniel all nodded together. "Yes, sweetheart, we're a family." Although much progress had been made, Nathaniel knew his journey of redemption was far from over. He remained committed to becoming the best version of himself, not just for his own sake, but for his family. Their story stood as a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and hope, proving that no matter the mistakes of the past, it's always possible to change and build a brighter future. On a sunny spring day, Nathaniel, Isabella, Michael, and Lucas attended Isabella and Michael's wedding. Under the clear blue sky and radiant sunlight, they celebrated the start of a new chapter. Lucas ran around the yard, laughing and playing without a care in the world, blissfully unaware of the trials his family had endured. Nathaniel stood nearby, watching his son with a heart full of contentment. The dark days were behind him, and now he could look ahead with hope and gratitude. He understood that, though the journey ahead would still have its challenges, he had found the right path to becoming a better father and a more honorable man. As the celebration continued, Nathaniel approached Isabella and Michael, his eyes filled with gratitude. Bowing his head slightly, he spoke with heartfelt sincerity. "Thank you both for giving me this chance. I know I've caused a lot of pain, but being here today, witnessing Isabella and Michael's happiness, is something I never dared to dream of." Isabella placed a hand on Nathaniel's shoulder, her smile warm. "Nathaniel, you've worked hard to earn this moment. You've proven that change is possible, and that's something to be proud of." Michael nodded in agreement. "We are all building something better together. That's what matters." Nathaniel looked at the couple, and then back at Lucas, who was laughing in the distance. In that moment, he felt the weight of his past lift a little more. With a renewed sense of purpose, he resolved to continue walking this path, with love, humility, and determination. As part of the family he cherished more than anything, Isabella smiled, her eyes shimmering under the sunlight. "Nathaniel, I know the past has been difficult, but seeing your efforts, I can't help but feel that we've all changed. Life doesn't always turn out the way we want. But, thanks to you, Lucas has had the chance to see that even a father can learn to become better." Michael, with a warm smile, placed a hand on Nathaniel's shoulder. "None of us are perfect, Nathaniel. What matters is that we're trying. I have immense respect for what you've done for Lucas and Isabella. And now, we are a family. Despite the pain in our past, I believe our love and care for one another will help us overcome everything." Nathaniel was deeply moved, his vision blurred by tears. "I am truly grateful. I know the road ahead is still long, but I won't give up. Isabella, Michael, Lucas, you've all given me a new hope, and I'll never let this trust slip away." After the ceremony, as the sun began to set, Nathaniel sat on the grass with Lucas. They watched the sunset together, a scene both beautiful and serene. Lucas turned to his father, his voice full of curiosity and hope. "Dad, when I grow up, will I have to go through hard times like you did?"
Nathaniel looked at his son, his gaze gentle and thoughtful. "Lucas, everyone has their own struggles in life, but what's important is that you always love and respect the people around you, learn from your mistakes, and never fear change. I made a huge mistake by not being there for you and your mum, and it's my greatest regret. But I promise you, I'll never abandon our family again."
Lucas quietly observed his father for a moment, then gave a soft smile. "You've changed, Dad. I can feel it, even though I'm still a little angry that you left. I know you're trying, and I'm proud of you, you know." Nathaniel felt his heart swell with emotion. He pulled Lucas into a tight embrace, unable to hold back his tears. "Thank you, Lucas. You were my motivation, the reason I've worked so hard to change. I love you so much." Lucas laughed and hugged his father back. "I love you too, Dad. Let's keep trying together, okay?" After the wedding, their lives entered a new chapter. Nathaniel continued his work with the nonprofit organization, supporting small businesses and families in need. He realized that change came not only from his own actions, but also from the love and support he had received from Isabella, Michael, and Lucas. One day, Isabella visited Nathaniel at his office at the nonprofit. She sat across from him, her eyes filled with encouragement. "Nathaniel, I want you to know that Lucas always talks about you with pride. He's changed so much since you came back. That feeling tells me we made the right decision. You are the father Lucas needs, and I trust you'll continue to grow and do even better." Nathaniel smiled, his heart filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Isabella. Hearing that means everything to me. I'll keep working hard, not just for Lucas, but for all of us. I want to make sure I never let you or him down again." Isabella nodded, her expression warm. "You won't, Nathaniel. We've all come a long way, and together, I believe we can continue to build something truly wonderful." Nathaniel smiled, his eyes shining with determination. "Thank you, Isabella. This means more to me than you can imagine. Lucas is everything to me, and being a part of his life, watching him grow every day, is the greatest gift I could ask for. I'll keep working hard, not just for him, but for everyone I love." Every weekend, Nathaniel, Isabella, Michael, and Lucas gathered for family outings at the park, or stayed home for cozy family activities. They cooked together, played simple games filled with laughter, and created cherished memories. Michael, with his calm and warm demeanor, always knew how to make everyone feel at ease. During these moments, Lucas often sat between Michael and Nathaniel, peppering them with questions about their younger days. "Dad Nathaniel, Dad Michael, who's better at soccer?" Lucas asked, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. Michael laughed heartily, glancing at Nathaniel. "Let's let Dad Nathaniel answer that. What do you think, Nathaniel?" Nathaniel burst out laughing. "Honestly, Lucas, I think your dad Michael is better at soccer than me, but what matters is that we have fun together, not who wins or loses." Lucas grinned brightly. "The next time, we should all play together. Both Dad Nathaniel and Dad Michael have to join in. I'll be the referee." Isabella watched the three most important men in her life, her heart brimming with joy and gratitude. Life was far from perfect, but in moments like these, she knew they were on the right path, bound together by love and mutual effort. In the years that followed, Nathaniel continued to watch Lucas grow. He and Michael became two guiding figures in Lucas's life, helping him navigate the world. With the love and support of both his fathers, Lucas grew stronger and more confident. He had not one, but two men ready to guide and protect him. Nathaniel knew he couldn't change the mistakes of the past, but he could use those experiences to ensure Lucas avoided them. Together, he and Michael held open conversations with Lucas about the values of love, honesty, and the importance of embracing change when mistakes were made. One night, Before bed, Lucas sat beside Nathaniel. "Dad, when I grow up, I want to help people like you do. I want to do good things so no one feels lonely or loses someone they love." Nathan smiled warmly, his heart swelling with pride. "Lucas, I'm so proud to hear that. You're an amazing kid, and I know you'll make a difference. No matter what happens, Dad Michael and I will always be here to support you." Lucas nodded, his eyes filled with determination. "Yes, Dad, I'll make you proud." Nathaniel hugged Lucas tightly, feeling the warmth and love radiating from his son. Under the starry spring sky, he knew that while the road ahead might still hold challenges, love and hope would always guide them forward. Standing beside Isabella and Michael, Nathaniel watched his son play with boundless joy. He felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The dark years were behind him, and now he could look forward with gratitude and optimism. He knew the journey would continue to test him, but he had found the right path to becoming a better father and a man worthy of respect. The power of love, forgiveness, and determination had turned their story into one of hope and renewal. As Nathaniel looked at his family, he knew they would continue to grow stronger together, facing life's challenges as one. Thank you for enjoying this story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with friends to spread these heartwarming tales. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and share suggestions for future stories. We'd love to hear from you.